turn, babe.
I don't know. Should I go to that side?
Whatever you want, friend. It's up to you. I mean, I'm cool right here. Well, fire's done, Joe. It's hot. Let me know when. Good. Oh, which one's yours? Test. Test. Cool.
Hey, Jordan, just want to double check that you guys can see my V5. Yeah. Yeah.
Test. Jordan, good? Cool.
I was just checking if the mic was good with the engineer.
Navy.
I'm dead. He said that so quick.
Test.
I think I'm gonna go to the voice.
Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
So yeah, as far as I know right now, they're moving the line and switching the monitor. When that fire is do I have to put it on mine? Audio, so I can see
Test. Hello.
I just head off the side, so I'm not.
Are y'all going to be able to hear us if we switch over to the map? No? You want to move... Oh, I guess it's easier to move this. Oh, yeah. What's going on, brother? I know you want to... think I can probably talk loud enough, and then good on that sound, and then we can kind of go to it. All right. You tell us where you want us to block and not block.
You're gonna move. We're just gonna have to just move this a little bit.
Okay, a little there. Sound good still if I'm here?
Yeah.
Good? All right. Are you trying to get in? Oh, you're not trying to get in? Not trying. You want all the names?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mark Montgomery, Bexar County ESD2, Assistant Fire Chief, MARK, and then MONTGOMERY. I don't know if y'all want to go around, and you're going to want it.
Deja Petruska, Public Information Officer, Texas A&M Forest Service, DAYZIAH PETRUSKA.
Chris Lopez, I'm your Bexar County Fire Marshal, CHRIS LOPEZ.
Ralph Rodriguez, I'm the Fire Chief for Bexar County ESD number 2, RALPH RODRIGUEZ.
Michael Moreland, MICHAELMORLAN, Deputy Chief of the Bexar County Office of Emergency Management.
John Ortega, JOHNORTEGA, Deputy Chief, Bexar County Fire Marshal Office.
All right. Y'all tell when you're ready. Okay. Good afternoon. Mark Montgomery, Bexar County ESD2. Just going to give a briefing on the operations at the Silver Mountain Fire. We've been out here since a little before 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. Units were initially dispatched for a trash fire, brush trash fire. Once they got out here, or right prior to that, they were upgraded to a structure fire response, as it did involve a barn. That barn did ultimately burn down and then had associated fire spread throughout the evening. Initially estimated to be about 400 acres, 300 to 400 acres last night. Those are calculations that we're doing in the middle of the night, so we're now learning that it's about 262 acres estimated that have burned. Same area, there was only a little bit of spread last night with our fire watch crews that were able to extinguish that without any difficulty. No buildings besides the original barn were damaged, no homes have been damaged, no lives were lost. The only injury was one firefighter that did have heat exhaustion, was treated on scene and not transported. There were no subsequent civilian injuries from this event. As far as we know, no livestock have been injured, no animals have been injured either. So on the map that we have here, we're currently positioned where the silver little dot is, off Silver Mountain Drive. The initial spread, or the initial fire, was somewhere in this area, and I'll let our law enforcement partners talk about that on their investigation, but that's where the initial fire, we believe, began. That spread came out this way, a little bit south, and then with winds it kind of shifted back towards where we're at now. The initial homes that were evacuated were all Silver Mountain Drive. South of that, just right along that green line, they were allowed to come back throughout the evening as well as this morning. Everyone is allowed to be back home. We just wanted to make sure that they were protected as we were able to do our operation back here. Divided up into this area, we have a structural response in the Alpha area, in the Alpha division. We have strike teams that are pre-positioned in Bravo and Charlie areas. And then in the Zulu and X-ray, that's where we hope the fire will not go back to. It did have a couple little areas that crossed over on Applewhite, as well as a little bit south, that they were able to extinguish last night. We have units pre-positioned as well there. Our most difficult thing on this fire, as well as this entire area, is this is very sandy. All of our structural units that are out here do not like to operate off-road, so we have to have all of our 4x4 vehicles, all tractors, dozers, etc., do our operations there. So it is a little bit more difficult for them to work. So the fire response down here is significantly different than what it is up here in Alpha. If that makes sense. So units will continue. They were here doing fire watch last night throughout until the morning. We began dozer operations with Texas A&M Forest Service this morning and continuing to do that today, and we will remain here until this fire is completely contained and extinguished. Looking at about 90% containment right now. And I'll turn it over to Fire Chief Rodriguez.
Good evening. We are going to continue to work on this fire. We do have the Texas Forest Service out here working 2 dozers, doing dozer operations, creating fire breaks, and trying to make sure that everything stays within the black and then nothing gets outside of that. We also have a lot of hand crews out there. We're also bringing in crews to do some saw work because we have a lot of trees that are smoldering up high that we're trying to bring down, and we're going to continue to monitor the fire even throughout this evening.
Good afternoon. Like I said, my name is Chris Lopez, and I'm your Bexar County Fire Marshal, EMC. So last night, we did receive a call along with the responding suppression units our Arson Investigation Division had some of our folks assigned to come out here and investigate the origin and cause of the fire. It definitely was determined that it was someone that was burning brush on their property. That fire was tended but didn't have an adequate water supply, and it got out of hand. The owner of the property called 911, got these guys out here, and it continued to grow. They were able to get it 90% contained to where we are right now, but they will not be facing any kind of criminal charges, as when you live in the unincorporated areas of the county, and we're not under a burn ban, you are allowed, the property owners are allowed to burn their household trash along with brush that actually comes from that place. Anything outside of that is not allowed. People are not allowed to bring trash onto their place. They're not allowed to bring brush from other locations to their property and burn. So this was one that basically the owner was given a notice of violation from one of our officers last night. And basically that amount to a warning like you might get if you're on a traffic stop. The only structure that was lost belonged to the owner of the property. Had it been a situation where the recklessness had caused the damage, or in this case a complete loss of a structure of somebody else, we may be talking about a whole different situation, because at that point the recklessness, they could be charged with the crime of arson. All arsons in the state of Texas are felonies. So people, as we move forward, please know, and I want to warn all of our residents, folks that are out there burning stuff on their property, look, you could really face some serious charges if something like this happens and you burn your neighbor's property. It's a situation that we hate to see, but we do often see it. I know we have areas of the county that do have trash service, and they do not burn their trash or their brush like they do in other areas that may not have a trash service. And these are all questions that we normally get on a day-to-day basis in our office. And even today, we had a few calls, people asking, was the owner of the property allowed to burn the brush from their own property? And the answer is absolutely. One of the things when you live in the county, we don't have zoning, and we don't have ordinances like they do in municipalities. So it could be a benefit, or in this case, it was really more of a hindrance. What I will say that we're going before, I'll make the recommendation each time that we enact a burn ban. Across Bexar County, the average continues to rise because of the heat and some of the windier conditions that we've had to dry out all of this vegetation that we've had grow throughout this year. We've had plenty of rain. We've been very fortunate in that. Well, you look at, for the last 3 weeks, we really haven't had any significant rainfall that would keep the drought index low. So as it continues to grow, the fire danger becomes greater. And because of that, I spoke with Judge Sakai this morning. Next week, we'd have a special session, as I will be making the recommendation to the Bexar County Commissioners Court and the judge that we enact the burn ban. So hopefully next Tuesday we'll get that done. But between now and then, we really want every citizen that's out there in unincorporated Bexar County, and really even those that are in the smaller jurisdictions, our partners with the suburban cities, please, you saw what happened here over this last 24-hour period that can easily happen anywhere else in Bexar County. I mean, this is just really small, and we're very lucky, but it's a very small case of, when I say you get 200 acres, I mean, and greater, 260 acres, that's a lot of acreage to burn. But if you think about that, and think about how if other people's houses or their property in any other ways, we've had fires in years past during droughts where we would lose 5, 6 houses at a time. I don't know if any of you remember Big Oak. That was a fire that happened back probably 2008 time frame. And I'm gonna tell you, guys, that was a huge fire that we had. I know that Chief Rodriguez and his guys over in District 2, many years ago, they had the Grossenbacher fire. They called it the Pat Gross fire. That was another huge fire that during drought conditions just got got away from the people that were there doing what they were doing with their controlled burning at the time, and it's really not controlled burning. That's something that can be called prescribed burning. Those are only done with special permissions, and those come through our office. These cases have not been anything like that. People are out there burning trash, household trash, or brush from their property, and not being safe or not having a good water supply when they're doing it. So we encourage anyone that's out there, please, from now until the burn ban is lifted and we have got plenty of good solid rains to where we're not in danger anymore, please just don't burn. You know, you can create piles, and then when we get the rain, then we'll lift the burn ban, and then maybe you can burn safely. But until then, please take this as a good solid warning. It is too dry for you to be burning in the county. And guys, you really got to take into consideration, as citizens, when you're doing this, when you're out there and you're burning and you're reckless, these firefighters that are here, everybody that's out here, you endanger them, not just your neighbors, but they're out here in this horrible heat, and they're out here fighting fire with their gear on, and you know, it's a very unsafe environment all the way around. So please, we ask that you please use a little bit of common sense and please not do that. Don't put our people in that position. Don't put yourselves and your neighbors in that position. Just hold off. Now, Deputy Chief Moreland with Emergency Management is going to step up. He's got a few more comments to make. We will be available for questions afterward. Deputy Chief Ortega will speak to any of our Latin stations and give you guys any interviews or any further questions that you might have to your viewers, so he'll be able to do that, okay?
Appreciate it. So to kind of recap what we've done as of yesterday, shortly after the incident grew in complexity, that multiple departments started arriving on scene from not just Bexar County, but also the surrounding counties. Our staff responded out here to help and assist the incident commanders that were on scene here, as well as assisting with some of the evacuation support. In that process, we did request from the state, the Texas Forest Service, to come down and assist with this fire. And going forward, in working in cooperation with the Texas Forest Service, they're working a plan so that we can try to move some more assets here closer as we start to see this uptick of brush fires and other fires throughout the county. As it gets hotter and it gets drier out there, as the Fire Marshal mentioned with his burn ban coming up, it's important that we have those resources here. So we've done a lot of training. We've done a lot of pre-planning locally on when it gets to that point of how we respond with the area ESDs and the strike teams with wildfire response. We're committed to continuing to do that and work with them and developing plans and reassessing those plans to make adjustments as necessary. But that's our current plan to make sure that we are prepared for additional wildfire. Now, that's not to say that those resources may go to another county if they have a wildfire, but our hopes is working in cooperation with them, we'll have some assets here locally. Thank you.
We'll open up the questions if anybody has any. One question, go, Fire Marshal?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Marshal, so you were saying that the person or the owner is not facing any charges, but also you mentioned something, what is the reckless?
Mm-hmm.
That you said that's not an excuse. So there is a kind of a contradiction there. The person obviously was reckless, doing what he did without being prepared to answer, and he burned almost 300 acres, and he made people evacuate and put in danger the firefighters, one of them with exhaustion and all that. So there is a contradiction there. Maybe some persons over here should say, let's put charges on this person.
So the only thing that, and I get what you're asking. So I think maybe the confusion is that the recklessness is if somebody else's property is damaged. And when we talk about arson, it has to be a very specific, a motor vehicle, a structure. There are several, if you look at this, the 2802 of the arson statute, there are very specific things those things of value. Right now, we've just had wildland, and they're owned that person that it was their own barn that burned. So there's really not any way that we could pursue any kind of charges against that person, except for maybe unsafe burning, which is a citable offense under the fire code. So it's like getting a traffic ticket. And I get exactly what you're saying. There's a tremendous inconvenience for everybody having to be evacuated and for these folks to have to come out. There has been a discussion with county leadership in reference to if we do have people who are out there and they're causing fires like this and we're inconveniencing everybody in the neighborhood, as well as the costs that are associated with having our folks out, the fire department out, is that something that we could do? And we're researching that now with the district attorney's office, so that if there is just throwing it out there, if there's a $25,000 charge, for all of these folks being out here or greater, is that something that we could maybe go back to that person? And we're currently researching that piece with the civil division of the DA's office in order to be able to get an answer for that.
I was going to ask you that next question. So how much manpower, how much the whole thing, all this movement could, end up with the taxpayers?
Yeah, so I can only tell you from our office last night, we had our emergency management personnel. We had 4 of those folks out here with Deputy Chief Moreland. From the fire marshal's office, we had 5 of our people out here, 3 of the investigators that were out doing the origin and cause piece of this. But as far as the fire department, I'd have to leave that to Chief Montgomery to be able to answer that, because I'm not aware of what that looks like right now. Normally, like I had mentioned, those other fires that we had years ago, there is what's considered it's a packet of information that's done. FMAG is what we're putting in for reimbursement whenever we have those disaster declarations. Those fires went into the hundreds of thousands of dollars just for equipment and manpower for the days that they were out there fighting those fires. Not to mention all the property that was lost on those as well. So right now, I don't have that answer for you.
When somebody, and I'm not sure if that's you, sir, talk about the evacuation efforts. Was it literally just going door to door, knocking on doors? Was there alerts sent out? Is there some kind of communication?
So as far as evacuation efforts that took place yesterday, is everybody on the south end of Silver Mountain Road, those were the residents that we mainly wanted to get evacuated because the fire was immediately right behind their backyards. The other people were being kept out as they were trying to return from work, only because we had a lot of emergency vehicles running back and forth down Silver Mountain trying to mitigate the fire and bring it under control. And they were shuttling waters and we were moving crews. And so in order for them not to get in harm's way, we kept them from returning back to their property, even though their property was in immediate danger. But as we got further on into the evening last night, we allowed those residents to go ahead and return as we were demobilizing units to go back into service. We did do a fire watch throughout the evening. Our guys were able to contain the fire in the black, which we're going to continue to do this evening as well. So we'll be watching this fire throughout the evening as well and through the night. And so, and then we'll also, if we need to bring crews back out in the morning to continue to mitigate the fires, we will. However, there are a lot of big tree limbs that are out there. Those will burn and smolder for days, if not a week or 2 weeks, only just because how big some of those large trees are that are out there. And so we're going to continue to watch that throughout the night and throughout the days to come. So if the only thing I ask the residents is if they see any active fire that they feel that nobody is watching or seeing, to please call our dispatch and report that, just to make sure that we have eyes on it. So.
Can you talk about what was the decision making to the shelter being in Elmendorf, and for you, or if you want to answer, what the burn ban, if it's passed, when would it go into effect?
I'll take that question to Chief Lopez.
Sure, absolutely. So in Bexar County, whenever we begin to create plans through the Office of Emergency Management, we work with many of our local partners to be able to stand up locations immediately whenever we have something, whether it's flooding, fires, whatever that looks like. Right now in our area, Elmendorf was the only one that we had where you check the box that was closest to be able to do that. We didn't make any calls to any of the closer cities because that was already in our plans. If you look at anything that we have in the way of emergencies, we try to have, and we do have, and we're required to have by state law. And I'll tell you, Deputy Chief Moreland and our staff and the emergency management side, that's one of the things that they make sure every year that those things are updated, that we've got those plans in place. And that was actually one of the closest that we already had part of the plan. We already had it ready to go. That was why it was in Elmendorf. I did have that question earlier. Actually, somebody had reached out and asked me why did y'all send them there? Well, that was the plan, right? And we have kind of divided up. Now, is it possible that we could create other areas within the county to be able to house folks or to be able to set up, whether it's reunification sites or whatever that looks like for other emergencies? Absolutely. And those are things that we can definitely be working on. I'll tell you all, as the population for Bexar County continues to increase, so does the need for places just like this, absolutely. And we do plan for those things. I can tell you, if we back up to before we had emergency service districts, the response to these kinds of fires was much different. Now, I mean, we really do have a tremendous amount of resources that these ESD departments can bring to this type of an event, and it's a good thing to see from a resident standpoint that you live out in the county, to know that you have good, solid, paid personnel who are well trained, well versed in the job, and that will immediately respond from a fire department, right? So they get out here quickly. So, I mean, I hope that answered your question. But yeah, as far as the door-to-door, I know you had asked that. I think that was probably part of. Immediately. So as soon as the court and the judge, as soon as they say we approve the burn ban, once I present it at court, then it goes into effect immediately. Sorry about that.
Yeah, just add on that. It's only for unincorporated Bexar County.
Correct. Yeah.
Not for city San Antonio or suburban cities.
Correct.
Only for unincorporated Bexar County. We'll take the last question.
And you said the property owner was reckless. What was he burning something he wasn't supposed to burn, or is there any way to burn safely? I know you don't recommend it, but
so if you're burning household trash, and really for those people that do not have trash pickup service, the only way that we consider it to be safe is that if they have like a drum, a 55-gallon drum or something like that, with a grate over the top of it, like expanded metal that covers the top completely. They put their trash in, they set fire, then they cover it, and that keeps those embers from being able to fly very far if they get past that grate at all. That really is the only safe way that we consider safe for them to be able to do that. Really,
everything he was burning was legal.
so it was legal, yeah. So you know when you go out and you set fire to a brush pile and you don't have a way to immediately extinguish any ember that may land on dry grass or other vegetation, come on. I mean, if you're going to start it and you're going to burn you need to pay attention to it, and you need to be that person that's going to make sure that I'm going to stay here until this stuff is completely burned. I'm not going to leave it overnight. Put it out. Put that fire out. Have a water supply there. Have a way, or cover it up with dirt, sand. I mean, there's a lot of sand out here. I mean, it's something that could be that simple, right? But you've got to be responsible. And again, our recommendation is you just don't burn. Just wait. I know sometimes people get aggravated. You know, they don't like to hear that. My brush piles are going to get huge. You know, we hear all kinds of excuses at our office why people need to burn. But we've told them, you know, hire a chipper, come out there, chip that stuff up, use it as mulch. You know, just don't burn it. You know, when we're in these kinds of conditions and they're going to be prolonged, man, the best thing we can do is just recommend that just don't burn at all.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Everybody done with this? Or you want me to- Va a ser visa. ¿Te permite mucha visa?
Por supuesto, no puede.
Me la